To my deputy, Dr. Ong Kiam Ming, thank you very much for your support on NAP and all the work that we do in MITI. To our Chief Secretary, thank you for your presence. Our KSU, Dr. Lokman, thank you as well for all the great effort and work that you've put in place to ensure that all the relevant agencies in MITI can work together to ensure this amazing day today. To all my cabinet colleagues, deputies and friends, and all those who are here today from the industry, thank you very much, Kota Huadan. Terima kasih kepada semua for being here and supporting this memorable, in fact historic event for the launch of the National Automotive Policy 2020 of our country. Yang Mahathir Tun and all distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to stand before you, the stakeholder of the automotive industry, and to welcome you at the launch of NEP 2020. Thank you, Tun, for agreeing to launch, but not only agreeing to launch, but actually being part of the NEP 2020, because our Prime Minister had engaged with MITI, MARI, and all those involved to add, to tweak, and to improve the NAP 2020 so that it will be the vision that we will guide our industry, the automotive industry, and more so the future of our country. Our Prime Minister, Dr. Mahathir, started this vision and industrialization of the automotive industry and sector when he was Prime Minister. So sometimes we in MITI have to think a little bit out of the box like before, where just like when we ask ourselves, how did and why did the first computer began or created? Why was it created? So the same methodology was approached in NAP 2020. We had to think back as to why NAP is necessary and relevant in order for us to create and enhance the automotive industry, of which MITI had been tasked to do by the Prime Minister. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the much anticipated NAP 2020 will be finally launched today despite some causes or concerns of delay. It was never delayed, rather it was tweaked, corrected, and to fit the current situation. And as many of you all know, we will have continuous disruption in technology today, as well as the way forward. And after doing in-depth research, study, engagement, as well with the industry, you can see how this NAP 2020 will fit into what our country needs to do and what you will work with the government in right after this launch to build your industry. For the first time ever, MITI and the government will be introducing the National Automotive Vision. The vision is developed as the overarching driver of the NAP 2020 and subsequent policies to ensure that our nation progresses in tandem with global demands and to overcome any challenges of the local automotive industry, so as to make the automotive sector a major contributor to the development of the Malaysian economy. The vision aims to make Malaysia a regional leader in manufacturing, engineering, technology, as well as to be sustainable in development for the automotive sector. Yang Mahathir Tun, ladies and gentlemen, the NEP 2020 will further enhance the Malaysian automotive industry by transforming the sector to a grand sector of connected mobility. At the core of the NEP 2020 will be elements of technology, such as the next generation vehicle, mobility as a service, and Industrial Revolution 4.0, which are all in line with the disruptive trend that have emerged in the global market. On top of stimulating development of vehicles, components, and systems equipped with disruptive features, the NAP 2020 is a holistic policy that covers the comprehensive development of industry capacities, including the supply chain, human capital, indigenous technology, aftermarket exports, infrastructure readiness, standard regulation, and others. Ladies and gentlemen, be rest assured that while the focus of this policy is on new technology, the government is always aware of the immediate and current needs of the industry and will ensure that no one and no industry will be left behind. The implementation of NAP 2020 has been broken down over several phases, transitioning based on the expected penetration and demands of critical components required based on trends and progression of vehicle technology. We at MITI would like to take this policy with a long-term perspective. While we address the current issue within our industry today, the NAP 2020 is truly about the long-term, the bigger picture that guides our thinking, capabilities, and spirit towards driving the industrialization of this great nation. Ladies and gentlemen, and YB Tun, I'm sure by now that many are excited as to the content of the NAP 2020. Hence, I would like to share with you all a video presentation of NAP 2020. Are we going to show now? But, okay. Oh, no. Okay.
How do we move forward? What future will our next generation inherit? 4 decades ago, we took a bold step. We moved from planting crops to making cars. So the next generation will inherit science, engineering, and technology we can call our own. We had our ups and downs, but today, our investment has paid off. Most importantly, we built an entire industry. Today, new technologies have emerged, and our battle for industrialization continues on. So how do we move forward? We start with a policy guided by a vision. A vision that will spur our supply chain, manufacturing, engineering capabilities, and is in line with technology trends and sustainable development goals. The policy combines energy efficiency with intelligent mobility services, opening new possibilities for the industry to develop next-generation vehicle technology. Shift business models towards mobility as a service, and enhance their manufacturing in line with the 4th Industrial Revolution, creating better vehicles, components, and engineering services for Malaysia and the region. Technology is the primary driver of the NAP 2020, with measures in regulations, business activation, infrastructure, and disruptive intelligent mobility. Customized incentives will be structured for the investment in critical components for NXGV and MAS over 3 phases spanning the decade. Export of parts and components, engineering, and after-sales services will be expanded through various trade channels. The NAP 2020 will be implemented through key strategies, encompassing the enhancement of the current supply chain, transformation of talent ecosystems specific to mobility, as well as new elements to promote a higher level of vehicle safety, environmental preservation, and consumer protection. All this will be implemented through 7 roadmaps and blueprints for all stakeholders to implement the NAP 2020 in the spirit of shared prosperity. This is the National Automotive Policy 2020.
YB, Prime Minister, and all distinguished guests and friends of MITI. The NAP, like I said, will definitely have many support and also compliments. But there will also be criticism. But because Malaysia, and I've learned this from Yang Amat Mohamad, our country is a nation that we share together. We share not only the prosperity, but also the responsibility, a shared responsibility to build our country. So for those who will probably have opinions over the NAP 2020, please work with the ministry, work with our agencies like MARI, work with our government agencies, related government agencies and the industry to ensure that the vision, the guides, as well as the achievement that is sought in the NAP 2020 will be built together as Malaysians. And to our investors from all over the world who are here in the automotive sector, you are part of Malaysia's automotive industry. Work with us, build our local industry, and support what the government is doing to ensure that all Malaysians will share its prosperity. With APEC 2020 that Malaysia is hosting, this is the time where our country has the opportunity to share this responsibility together and to work together with our Yang Amat Mohamad Prime Minister to show that Malaysia is ready for all challenges and for the future of industries. With that, thank you very much. Thank you for your indulgence. And I now will ask Yang Amat Mohamad Tun to present his speech.
Ponsiko, and thank you so much, Yang Mohamad Datuk Darul Laikin, Minister of MITI.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Yang berhormat Datuk Darul Laikin, Minister of International Trade and Industries. Yang berhormat Dr. Ong Kian Ming, Deputy Minister of International Trade and Industries, Cabinet Ministers and Deputy Ministers, High Commissioners and Ambassadors, senior government officials, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. I take great pleasure in being here to launch the National Automotive Policy, or NAP 2020. It is indeed a special occasion, and I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate the Ministry of International Trade and Industry, or MITI, on the successful formulation of NAP 2020. Ladies and gentlemen, when the first national car was launched in 1983, it came with the vision of turning Malaysia into a regional manufacturing powerhouse. From a resource-rich country whose international presence depended much on international trade of agricultural commodities such as palm oil and rubber, Malaysia had made that significant progress towards industrialization with a focus on the manufacturing sector. It was a logical choice, as the sector was able to provide far greater economic spillovers and create more jobs opportunities for the people. With industrialization, the other related manufacturing subsectors were also created and grew in tandem with increased demands for raw materials such as rubber, steel, plastics, and petrochemicals. Apart from that, industrialization opened up more service-related sectors and provided high-value downstream business and employment opportunities, such as in the areas of wholesale, retail, after-sales services, and marketing. When we started this industry more than 35 years ago, Many were skeptical about our aspiration. But today, Malaysia has become one of the most competitive markets for the automotive industry. And it has gone through many phases of development with many success stories to be told. Ladies and gentlemen, the automotive industry goes beyond mere car manufacturing. Technically speaking, although the manufacturing of a car involves thousands of small parts and components, it also spurs the development of new technologies and will in turn complement other industries and other industrial sectors. The technologies embedded within the car provide immense opportunities for related industrial sectors to break new grounds. Linkages to both upstream sectors such as steel, plastics and rubber, and the downstream value chain demonstrates that the automotive industry is one of the most important and strategic contributors to the overall growth of the manufacturing sector. The Malaysian automotive industry and related sectors employ more than 600,000 people and contribute 4.0% to Malaysia's GDP. There are more than 20 manufacturing and assembly plants in the country, producing passenger and commercial vehicles, as well as motorcycles and scooters. Moving downstream, there are about 53,000 aftermarket establishments and more than 600 automotive parts and component manufacturers that range from body panels, trim parts, powertrain parts, rubber parts, and electrical and electronic parts. These numbers are not only impressive, but also a bad testament to how a developing country such as Malaysia could be a strong player in a concentrated industry such as this in the last 3 decades. Ladies and gentlemen, the advent of new disruptive technologies is set to revolutionize the sector in unlimited ways, including in the area of connected mobility. The global digital transformation is already underway, impacting both the manufacturing and the services sectors across their value chains. Vehicle technologies such as electrification, Internet of Things, cooperative intelligent transportation systems, and vehicle artificial intelligence, or AI, are critical development focus for today's global car makers to enhance vehicle safety as well as make mobility more intelligent and environmentally friendly. Therefore, the introduction of the NAP 2020 is very timely as it incorporates the 3 new advanced technology elements, namely next generation vehicle, mobility as a service, and industrial revolution 4.0. Apart from aligning with current technological trends, the NAP 2020 is also targeting at enhancing current policies while introducing new measures. A holistic industrial development policy would have to cater to the different needs and expectations of the various stakeholders within the value chain. In this regard, NAP 2020 has considered all possible elements in the areas of research and development, participation of domestic companies in the local and global supply chain, engineering activities, capability and capacity building of local talent, enhancement of exports as well as investment incentives. Another important feature of the NAP 2020 is the continuous endeavor towards sustainable production. Across the globe, circular economy model is becoming the norm, and the success of an industry, of a sector, is being measured by, among others, our carbon footprint. The automotive industry has gone through the same phase of industrial revolution. From coal to fuel-powered engines, the new generation vehicles are now engineered by powertrain of hybrid, electric, and hydrogen fuel cells. The promotion and adoption of the green technology for energy-efficient vehicle, or EEV, and the next generation vehicles, or N times GV, will need the be supported by the right ecosystems and infrastructure for it to be sustainable and attractive. Facilities for end-of-life cycle battery cells and waste management and treatment will be enhanced, if not established, which will then complete the entire ecosystem for not only the automotive industry, but also other related industries. All these high-tech infrastructure and facilities will essentially help reduce the cost of production while completing the sustainable production cycle in the automotive industry as well as in the entire manufacturing sector in Malaysia. I'm glad to know that the NAP 2020 will have plans to realize this through the designation of a dedicated industrial zone for circular economy business practices for the automotive industry. Ladies and gentlemen, in furthering the support of green technology approach, beginning the 1st January 2020, palm biodiesel has been upgraded to from B10 to B20 category in the transport sector, and this will continue to be enhanced to B30 before the year 2025 or even earlier. To facilitate the implementation, NEP 2020 will provide supporting measures, including the development of standards for testing and research to support the increase in blending of palm oil diesel. All the emphasis under the NAP 2020 are our commitment to the industry that we too are moving in the same direction with other major countries in keeping up with global trends, to be it technologically or environmentally. Ladies and gentlemen, the automotive sector is not limited to car making. It opens doors to boundless engineering possibilities that could complement our economic sectors. This is well illustrated by automotive producing nations where the development of vendors for parts production and components production has created large numbers of jobs and skilled workforce, as well as generated many business opportunities for SMEs. It is within this context that the existence of local automotive industry will continue to spur other opportunities for Malaysians to develop our own engineering capabilities and to enhance our skills and knowledge in technology. Therefore, I would like to call upon all industry players, from the OEMs to the local companies, to continue to work together to increase utilization of local companies in high value-added activities of the domestic as well as global supply chains, so that together we can create that positive economic spillovers, particularly in the transfer of technology and provision of jobs while expanding investments and increasing exports. Ladies and gentlemen, the government has made a conscious decision under NAP 2020 to implement the new Malaysian vehicle project, building on our efforts in developing 2 national cars and 1 national motorcycle. The proposed new Malaysian vehicle project will emphasize on research and development and incorporation of the latest technologies in order to be competitive in both domestic and global markets. New technology clusters as well as new expert workforce, especially in the field of automotive engineering, would be developed consequentially. The new Malaysian vehicle project is expected to contribute significantly to the nation's economic development through its support for both the upstream and downstream industries, creating the demand of other related materials such as high-grade steel, plastics, rubber, and petrochemical products, which will stimulate further growth of these sub-sectors. Besides the new Malaysian vehicle project, the government is also committed to ensuring that Malaysia continues to prosper and its wealth and prosperity are shared in an equitable manner among all. To achieve this aspiration, a number of key policies have been introduced, including Shared Prosperity Vision 2030, Industry Forward, and National Transport Policy to accelerate Malaysia's economic growth and development. Therefore, the NAP 2020 should be viewed by everyone as a balanced and comprehensive policy document that will consider the interests of all stakeholders in the domestic automotive sector. NAP 2020 will set the pace for improvements and prepare our automotive industry to move towards the next phase of connected mobility. In conclusion, the real success of NAP 2020, however, lies in the implementation of its 7 respective roadmaps and blueprints. As such, I call upon all stakeholders, from government agencies to the private sector, to continue to work together objectively as we roll out the implementation of NAP 2020. With that, it is with great pleasure that I launch the National Automotive Policy NAP 2020. I thank you.
Thank you, Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister. We would now like to request Yang Amat Berhormat Tun to kindly remain on stage. We'd like to invite Yang Berhormat Datuk Darul Liking and Yang Berhormat Dr. Ong Kian Ming to accompany Tun on stage as we begin the NAP 2020 launch. Dipersilakan. Ladies and gentlemen, we present to you presenting to you the National Automotive Policy 2020. We will now proceed with our group photo op. With that, I would like to invite our KSN, KSU from MITI, TKSU from MITI, as well as the CO for Mari to join all our VVIPs on stage for the photo op. And would like to request all VVIPs to stand behind the NAP 2020 logo while holding the NAP 2020 policy book, the 7 roadmaps, as well as the blueprint. Dipersilakan.
For information, the 7 roadmaps and blueprints are being launched together with the NAP 2020 policy book. These 7 roadmaps and blueprints highlight details of the policy implementation to ensure a successful NAP 2020.
Right, so we are going to request that our VVIPs on stage pose with the books for benefit of our photographers and videographers who are here with us this morning. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the NAP 2020 policy book, 7 roadmaps, as well as the blueprints highlighting details of the policy implementation to ensure a successful NAP 2020. All right, ladies and gentlemen, congratulations once again on the launch of the NAP 2020. Thank you so much, Yang Amat Berhormatun and all our VVIPs.
And now, with that, we have come to the end